For a year and a half now, we've been cooped up, prevented from going out at night and living our lives. Now we can finally have a good time.
Your test is negative.
Thank you very much.
This time last year, we were closed, so I'll happily take restrictions.
Hello and welcome to a new edition. I'm Nadia Sharbi and this week we're putting the focus on the COVID recovery of Paris's nightlife. As nightclubs like this one finally reopen nationwide, Parisian partygoers are jumping at the chance to let down their hair and masks. But with the virus still in circulation, they'll have to prove themselves COVID-free before even reaching the dance floor, and indoor venues are limited to 75% capacity. All of which has left 75% of club owners preferring to postpone their grand reopening till September. So has the party ended before it's begun? Let's find out.
Shouting along to the music and letting loose on the dance floor, or pulling down one's mask to exchange a public kiss. After 16 months, French nightclubs are back in business and partygoers are thrilled.
For a year and a half now, we've been cooped up, prevented from going out at night and living our lives. Now we can finally have a good time.
We've had enough of social media. We want to get out and meet people and have fun.
It's great. We're having an amazing time.
A newfound freedom that comes with certain conditions. All who enter must be fully vaccinated or show a negative COVID test.
Your test is negative.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night, sir.
A rapid testing center set up outside gives results within minutes. Crucial for the young clubgoers who make up the majority of the clientele, and many of whom are not vaccinated. Despite long lines, they say it's worth the wait.
I think it's better. It's more cautious. It allows us all to stay safe.
It's better. We don't have to worry. No need to wear masks. We can just enjoy our evening.
Meanwhile, club owners say the measures are the price they pay to reopen.
This time last year, we were closed, so I'll happily take restrictions.
But with occupancy limited, many worry about breaking even.
We don't know if we'll be able to make a profit yet. We'll give it a try. It's a big test. We're staying open for 10 consecutive days, and if we see that we're not within budget, we'll have to close again. We've been losing money for 16 months. We can't keep on losing money.
Another concern is a new spike in cases driven by the highly contagious Delta variant. Amid the restrictions and ongoing uncertainty, many French nightclubs have opted not to reopen just yet. And for some, the party may be over for good. Despite aid from the government, unions say a quarter of France's 1,600 discotheques may never reopen their doors.
Now, just because bars and clubs were shut for over a year doesn't mean Parisians were entirely starved for entertainment. Thanks to a few determined artistes, the show did go on, albeit on a different stage. Among those who helped beat the pandemic blues is cabaret-style drag act Mixity, who staged a nightly show from the windows of this Montmartre building.
Avec les cheveux, au mieux je mets comme ça. T'as les cheveux par-dessus. On fait un métier très sérieux, mais il ne faut pas se prendre au sérieux en le faisant.
Vous êtes là, vous la connaissez. Cherche ton bonheur partout, refuse ce monde égoïste.
J'adore les spectacles comme ça, voilà, c'est vraiment, on en a besoin en plus à ce moment.
Well, I'm joined now by Marie, Thiago and Bruno, who've now taken their show to the Théâtre Le Pic in Montmartre. Hello to all three of you. Hello. Now, you're 3 of the troupe's dozen or so performers. Did you feel a sort of personal and even professional duty to entertain during this crisis? Bruno?
I found that it was essential and a bit of work. My grandmother was in the resistance and I was raised by her. So the lesson in this case was to absolutely bring pleasure to people and to be there for them.
And is there a particular thrill to performing in that offbeat way, Marie, perhaps?
Pour le coup, aux fenêtres, c'est la surprise générale.
It's a surprise for people who pass by the window. Maybe they're on their way from work or with their kids coming back from school, and they're discovering cabaret, both the young and the old. They don't have to go to a show. The cabaret comes to them. And that is really the difference.
Et là, ça fait vraiment toute la différence.
So perhaps this pandemic fame has brought a new audience to your shows, Thiago?
Yes, indeed, we've had the luck of attracting entire families, from the youngest person to the oldest. We're attracting all kinds of people and have an audience that's also family-orientated.
Now, even before this crisis hit, Paris nightlife had come under criticism for being too tame, for having lost its sparkle. Are you hoping we might actually witness a new version of the post-war roaring 20s as a rebound effect?
It's impossible to say that things are over. Nothing is finished. People are always the same. They always want to have a good time. People are always discovering and they have the same energy. Simply put, I think there's always something positive. To be there in the right place and to introduce the right things. It's like the work of chemistry. When a comedian says the room isn't good, it's not that the audience is bad, maybe it's the performance that's not good. So it has to be good. The creation is made, and life is always marvelous, the celebration.
Is Paris over, Thiago?
Oh, not at all. Paris will always be Paris. Whether there are more young people at the nightclubs or not, that changes nothing. Paris will always be Paris. It's a place of theatre, cabaret, glitz and glamour.
And so how are artists like yourself handling this phase of the crisis?
Alors, il y a un besoin énorme d'exprimer.
There's a huge need to express oneself. I think we're tearing down obstacles, norms, and fears. We're going to explore new characters, and ultimately the encounter is much more powerful.
Et la rencontre est tellement plus forte après.
Now, Bruno, you mentioned earlier that Parisians are still there and they're still wanting to party, but do you also feel that there's a widespread sense of anxiety, perhaps, as the virus is still around?
Yes, there is still a fear, and our role is to reassure people and to be there to show beauty and dreams and also the sweetness of life. Yes, the celebration is important, but not an aggressiveness, because that's too easy. We must always be tender and make people dream. We must reassure them. That's why the artist is there.
Et puis, il y a des choses qui ont été mises en place dans le cadre
One example of the things we've put in place to reassure the audience are the pink vests, who stand out in the street to welcome the members of the public and to make sure things go smoothly with the crowd. This is really important for a show or a production, especially one like ours, a cabaret in the street, when we have to consider social distancing.
Le cabaret est adaptable à la rue et aux conditions sanitaires.
All while dancing and singing. That's what's interesting. That means the people who take care of security also take part in the show. It's their kindness.
So what part of Paris's nightlife were you most eager to get back to? Could you perhaps share your favourite spot, Thiago?
For me, I love to walk along the Seine. You can meet so many different people, musicians, just people there to walk around, people in love. Life along the Seine is great. I highly recommend it.
Thank you very much, Marie.
Moi, ce qui m'a manqué, c'est les théâtres.
I really missed theaters. The Mogador, the Bobino, and all the places I don't know yet, but I really want to discover.
Je ne connais pas à Paris, mais maintenant, j'ai bien plus encore envie de les voir.
And Bruno?
I didn't miss anything. Just like the title of my show, I looked up to realize my dreams.
Thank you very much to all three of you.
Merci.
Mixity-vous, Mixity-moi, tous réunis. Mixity-vous, c'est l'un assis, Mixity-nous, c'est pour la vie. Paris, c'est quoi? Très Mixity.
So as we've seen, even during a pandemic, Parisians have found a way to keep the party going. But not all revellers are willing to jump through official hoops before having their fun. That's why impromptu outdoor gatherings have become the new place to be.
Regarde comme il est beau. Pas beau ça?
Ah ouais, tu l'as déjà?
Eh ouais.
C'est sur le truc là?
C'est sur le tous anti-Covid, ouais. Et Olivia qui frôle la barre des 200 L. À elle toute seule. Avec.
La deuxième dose, c'est
En fait, il y a des gens qui vont en boîte, qui vont dans des bêtes de trucs, et qu'après, il y a le plan de nous, ici, sur les quais.
Mais tais-toi, il prend le son.
En plus, on est quand même loin, d'ici. Nous, on n'habite pas super à côté, mais on fait quand même le déplacement pour se poser. C'est ça? On est content de sortir en fait. C'est plus venez, on va se réunir chez quelqu'un parce que. Voilà, regarde comment c'est beau.
And with that, it's time for us to join the party. Stay tuned and stay safe.
France 24 and UNESCO present.
We're here in Carthage in Tunisia, a place with a history of 3,000 years. But how do we ensure that this heritage here is preserved for future generations? We'll be discussing it in a special programme in association with UNESCO here on France 24.
Shared heritage on France 24 and France24.com.